incredible.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, we're gonna have some people jumping in and out from our group. I think, Brian, it's going to be mainly you and me. A lot of guys are down as shareholders. I think Batiata is going to do a flyby. Pete's speaking today. We're kind of supposed to talk about teams, but I think it's just the two of us. Question is do you want to just open it up to something different today and hit the team thing when we get back? When everybody gets back, what do you think?
I think that would be good. I think we could open it up to questions on anything we've covered over the weeks. If somebody's been wanting to ask a question, or we can just have a mastermind, and just uncork it. And sometimes those are the best.
Yeah, why don't we just have an open conversation? If you have any specific questions, do us a favor, put them down there in the chat. All right, Brian and I are going to fire at these things. We're going to keep topics going and stuff like that. So put whatever you need down there in the chat, and we're going to watch for that and keep going from there. So, Brian, let's talk about let's open it up to what's the most exciting thing you're seeing right now in the business? Because I know a lot of people are going crazy. Yeah. A lot of people are saying, oh my God, it's bad. Half the sales, people are off 50%. Some people are up. Some people are down. What's the most exciting thing you're seeing? Let's start on a positive here.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, while I was on vacation, I had a previous seller contact me, or he was a buyer and a seller, so he's a past client, had a small property that they started out as a single family PUD, one common wall. No HOA fee, but a common wall at the end of a cul-de-sac. Really nice little property. They lived in it 11 years, had 3 kids, raised them, and then I helped them transition out of that and keep it as a rental property and move into a new principal residence. So they decided to take advantage of the $500,000 tax-free gain on their property. Here in California, that seems to be a little accelerated over most markets, but here you can do it pretty quickly. This particular property they bought for $289,000, and it is now appraisal for the market was $665,000. So over a $400,000 gain in those 8 or 9 years, whatever it was, 11 years. So put it on a coming soon, positioned it all. I went on vacation. We kept it on coming soon for 10 days, hit the market the day I got back. And by Sunday, we had 4 offers, all over full price. One of them over $700,000, all cash, 7-day close escrow. Flipped out. The seller was like, what in the world? And that's what our market is in San Diego. It is so deprived of good inventory right now that when something hits the market, it's like chum in a shark fight. And so it's great for the seller right now. It's frustrating for these buyers. I had agents almost in tears saying their buyers have put in like 70 or 80 offers, and VA offers are the ones that are struggling the most because they're having to come in so high and do so much that they just are having a tough time competing. So the exciting part is the frustrating part for somebody else. Does that make sense? So real estate has always been that way, you guys. I can tell you right now that we're in the same exact market we were in when I started when I was 23 years old in 1985. One buyer, one seller. That's it. That's all it takes, right? And so when there's so many buyers, pent up demand, and you're a seller, this is just going to be a market that you also have to be prepared for, because my sellers were so conflicted with the stories and they had a hard time. They're faithful people. So they were really praying for a family. But then when somebody comes in and knocks it out of the park and gives them a 7-day all cash with no appraisal, waived all contingencies, I mean, it's like, well, let's do it. And if it doesn't close, then we'll go back to these other ones that we really felt like were the best offers. They almost made the decision to pass on it because it was an investor. So the exciting part is, for me anyway, that I see right now, if you're a brand new agent, the exciting thing is there's business out there. There's plenty of business out there. If you look at your market, if you look at your solds, if you look at your pendings and you do a monthly average, there's business. There's always been business. There's always business there. It's how you perceive the business. And so if you can find the strength to really understand and be an expert in the market. That's really what you need to be an expert in, is building trust and just being an expert in the market. You need to know where to go get all the answers, and you need to know how to navigate through this, because you cannot sell somebody a house. People pick the house. Our job is to help them only see one house. You're wasting your time if you're showing them a bunch of homes that don't fit their wish list. When you get really good, especially in a market like today, you have to get really skilled at understanding what their actual wish list is, so they only see one, so they're not falling in love, getting depressed, falling in love, getting depressed, because they're battling, and they're not having a good experience. And if you're not having a good experience, probably your clients aren't having one either, right? So if you're not having a great experience right now, I don't know how you can deliver a great experience if you're not having one. So take a step back and look at all the things that you're doing. And if you're shotgunning this business right now, this is a great business, great time of your career to really become good and skilled at not showing property, but doing the pre-consultation to when you find the right property, right? Does a buyer know what a seller is looking for in today's market? If a buyer doesn't know exactly what the seller is looking for, then it's our job to educate the buyer what a perfect offer looks like to a seller in today's market. How do you compete with 7 days, all cash, with no contingencies? The best you can do is be ready to go and be that offer that the seller will select over that one. And what will they select? They might select somebody who's not in such a rush. They might select somebody who's just so overly prepared, that fits the neighborhood, that just showed up, just like the perfect buyer in all areas for the seller. And they shock you sometimes. This seller literally was ready to choose another buyer based upon the fact that the neighbors met the buyer and their story fit the neighborhood. And in this case, they almost won that deal, right? And they are our accepted backup offer. So if buyer number one fails, seller's going to go with their preferred buyer. But it was $20-some odd thousand, a difference in net, and this was strictly a business move for them, about the taxes. So that's one thing that's really exciting. The other exciting thing I see right now is that this is a market where I see, because I'm a manager and I'm a trainer as well, so I'm doing training classes in our local association, that agents are really hungry to become an expert and a student of this industry. They really want to know what it's going to take. And if they want to study, the heart of what we do as realtors, our number one job is to build trust. You build enough trust with enough people, you're going to have a full plate all the time. People trust you. They're going to work with you. People don't work with people they have good rapport with, right? If you just stop at rapport building skills and don't build any trust, people are going to call you. This will probably sound familiar, Craig. You ever had anybody call you and say, "Hey, Craig, we just listed our house. We just want to know, we put it on the market for this price. What do you think? Did we do the right thing?" That's rare for you to get, but you've heard it before in your career earlier, right? Or, "Hey, Craig, yeah, oh, I'm sorry, we found a house. We walked in, we weren't looking for one. And, we just ended up buying a property." And you find out from the client that they've done something. They either bought something or sold something without you, but yet they respected you enough to ask you, did we do the right thing?
Yeah.
Why does that happen?
It's happened. And, it drives you crazy when you do it after 34 years. And you had said something very interesting, becoming a student of the business, becoming a student of the industry. That's one of the exciting parts that and by the way, everybody from Windermere, I see Rhonda just signed in. Welcome to EXP. Fantastic. Welcome to the family. Huge group coming over, huge brokerage coming over. We are so glad you're part of our world. We're even more prouder to be part of yours. New friends, more family, and we're so excited for you. And also Jake, seeing you guys, Matt Badiat and Diane, great job helping them. And you know what exciting? This is an exciting point, and this is where I was saying we're becoming a student of the industry and stuff like that. And this is a chance that you can coil back a little. We've talked about that, how to become a bigger lobster. Okay, my Larry the Lobster sits right on my desk. how to become a bigger lobster is you got to shed your shell. You're pent up. You're in that uncomfortable zone. We've been through this. We've got away from just running around like chickens without our heads, throwing paperwork, to now you have to have attention to detail. I can tell you right now, the past 4 transactions I've closed this past week have been with agents because I talked to them. I asked them, I communicated with them, and I said, what is it going? And talking, build that rapport. My clients have lost 5 or 6 other houses, but guess what? We finally figured out, and all of a sudden they're starting to hit. But I can tell you, we won 2 of those transactions because those agents went to the seller and said, I've worked with Craig, I know Craig. And the other ones who didn't know me, one of them still did. We're still in negotiations for one. Guess what? You're playing with $1.5, $1 million, $500,000, $700,000 houses that are just going to settle in 30 days and stuff. And those agents want to know they're getting paid. They don't want to come back to the market. So remember, as you're the agent for the buyer, your job's also, as what my job is to make that agent look good. So I'm excited to tune all my skills in how I'm communicating better with other agents. Before there was no communication. Yeah, there's still 7, 10 offers. There's not 80 of them at one time. But the point in fact is that we're able to also tune our skills in what we're doing, how we're communicating with our clients, how we're communicating with the other agents, how we're communicating with our CRM. This is a great time to go into your CRM, start cleansing it, start learning it. A lot of us work off of KV Core. KV Core is brand new to a lot of people. It is a Ferrari. Learn it. Take time. If I can do it, you can do it. If you don't know it yet, or you use another CM, just use something, but get really, really good at it. Become zone genius with it. I mean, there's a great book, The Big Leap. The only reason we're holding ourselves back is because we self-sabotage ourselves once we start feeling really good about what we want to be and where we're going. So stop the sabotaging and get exciting for your next level, because in this kind of market, Brian, you've seen it, this kind of market, millionaires are made, multimillionaires are made, because agents grow, agents thrive. And especially, Windermere, you guys coming in, what an exciting time with you guys coming in. EXP's pushing, growing. We broke 88,000 agents the other day. So we're on a big push and all growing. Matt Battiati, you're down at the summit, right?
I am, man. Good morning.
Hey, There we go.
Morning, Matt.
Hey, guys.
We were talking about, we're going to get into teams. I understand there was some questions in there about postcards and teams right now. Give us a little bit of an idea. What's the excitement going on down there right now? For those of us who aren't there.
Yeah, we got here. It was a real pain in the ass to get here. To tell you the truth, our flight was delayed by like 3 hours because of fog flying out of San Diego. But it was worth it because this morning we had a really awesome breakfast. I didn't eat anything, but they call it a breakfast. And Glenn Sanford spoke and Glenn Stern spoke. And I really couldn't believe it when I went up and I saw Glenn Sanford. For everybody on this call, obviously he's CEO and the founder of EXP. And, he meets so many gazillions of people. And so I went up to him and just said hi. And I really couldn't believe that he remembered who I was. You know what I mean? I got to have dinner with him in London about 6 months ago, because we were there with my daughter, and they had the Christmas party for UK EXP. But anyway, he's just such a down-to-earth guy, and he gave an amazing, inspiring speech, as did Glenn Stearns, who's the founder of Success Lending. We just came from a breakout session on utilizing YouTube for agent attraction, which is fast. There's just so many great breakouts. And so the reason I thought we should still do this morning, I know it's a different topic, but I just want everyone to know everything that's happening here is going to be posted on YouTube. So I think you can access what's happening here at shareholders. We're in Orlando. What's happening here, I think you can access it in like EXP, in the auditoriums in like EXP World. But even if you don't do that, I just looked and there's already been stuff from yesterday posted on YouTube. So it's really, I love coming to these. I mean, I hate it's a love-hate. I hate having to get on a plane and fly across the country to Orlando, not my choice, but I love learning. And there is so much stuff to learn at these events. And so if you didn't want to, go through the hassle of getting here, I totally get it. But take advantage, take some time and watch these speeches and, presentations and breakout sessions online, whether it's in the world or on YouTube. It's just, there's a lot of, we should all be learners, right? And there's so much stuff to learn here. And I love coming to these events because I was just telling somebody that years and years and years ago, I was like in the business like 3 or 4 years. And I went to a conference where I met Jay Kinder, right? Jay Kinder was probably like 22 years old at the time. I thought I was kind of a big deal because I was selling like 130 houses a year. I meet this kid from Lawton, Oklahoma. He tells me he sells 400 houses a year. I'm like, I am the biggest loser in the world, So I love coming to these things because you meet all these people that are just knocking it out of the park, and it resets your expectations about what standard you should hold yourself up to. So that's what I want.
And it creates the collaboration and friendships from around the country that you can see each other and get re-fired up. One of the things I always think of, if you stay in your own snow globe and you keep staying in the snow globe by yourself, in the end, what do you end up doing? Drinking your own water. And you know what you end up doing in your own water if you're a fish. So you don't want to be drinking that water. So why I have you right now, Matt, why I have you before we lose you, and then, or if we do.
Look who I have.
The question. Hey, the world famous Diane. How you doing, Diane?
How are you?
That's business partner and growth partner. There you go. Good job.
Hey,
We have all your Windermere friends on.
Yeah.
Oh, yay. Yay. I love it. Hi, guys.
Hey, guys. Hey, one of the questions was, Matt, let's go back to something that you do. Very important. And I know Brian, I think Brian, you might do. The question was postcards.
Oh, yeah.
Postcards, how big? You use a certain company and you set it up for the whole season.
Yeah,
year, right?
They're actually here at EXP at the shareholders event, but the company is called Letter Labs. It's letter Lettr with no E. So letter, I don't know why that's the way they spell it, but Letter Labs. What I really like about Letter Labs, and I did shop around multiple companies, because I want to be able to send out as many as I can. They're handwritten. These are handwritten postcards. That's what I'm doing. I mean, I do a lot of different types of direct mail, but the one that I really like lately is this Letter Labs, they look like they're handwritten. They're actually it's like a machine, but it looks like it's like you just, you hand wrote it, right? And it's got a live stamp on it, and you can go onto their portal. Look at this cool background right here, by the way. You can go on to their portal and you can upload whatever mailing list you want, and I make them hyper local, right? So I will mail to one little development. It might be 75 homes, or it might be 300 homes or something, right? And then I like to only mail to people that have lived, sure, some people move after 2 years, but most people, the statistic is they move every 7 years. So I figure I can't mail to the whole world. So I'm just going to mail to people that have been there at least like 5 or 6 years, right? And my postcards pretty much say the same thing. They say, hey, either I just sold a home in your neighborhood and we had other buyers that missed out and are still looking for a home in your neighborhood. And if you're thinking about selling, I'd love to talk with you. Or it says, hey, I've got buyers that want to buy a home in your neighborhood. I would love, if you're thinking about selling, I'd love to talk with you. I may already have a buyer for your home. I can describe specific tactics to generate multiple offers, and also give you your home's value. That's it. Call or text me at 760, whatever cell phone. Yeah, that's Bobby just put that in, or Greg did. So I think those are really effective. The thing I really like about them is I can customize the front, right? So it's a postcard. I do a postcard because they're the cheapest ones. So you can customize the front. And what I do is I put artwork on the front. So I just did a few different mailers to some condo complexes by the beach in Carlsbad. and it's right by Ponto. So what did I do? I went online and I Googled Ponto Beach, Carlsbad painting, and I found a painting that I could use for free from online, and that's what I put on the postcard. Right. So I think those are really effective. They're inexpensive. And the reason I think that they work is, if you're thinking about selling your house and you don't necessarily know who you're going to sell your house with, and you get a postcard from me saying, hey, I got people want to buy a house in your neighborhood, call me. And I just wrote you this postcard. I can't believe that people actually believe that I hand wrote those postcards, but they do.
They saw my writing, they wouldn't understand it. That's why I
Yeah.
use it too. So do you
Yeah.
send a 4x6 or a 6 or 6
No,
by
it's just
9?
it's a little, just like, I guess it's
Regular
4x6.
4x6 postcard.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's got a live stamp on it. The address is handwritten. And the guy that I work with there by the name is Reed, R-E-E-D. And I think they're actually here at Shareholders, but Reed Rain is his name. So tell them that I referred you, and I think they'll give you a discount. But I think those are really good. I mean, let's face it, guys, listing inventory is super, super low. So no matter what marketing you're doing, you're going to get a lower response than you normally would if we had, I think our listing inventory in San Diego is like 1/8 of what would be normal. What about sell without listing? What is that? And fix and list offers. So yeah, you can do whatever message you want, guys, on these postcards. You could say whatever. You could say, I'll sell your house, in one weekend, sell without listing, blah, 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 whatever. The bottom
Brian
line,
Moses has some great lines. Anybody who's in part of this, anybody who's tied into Brian Moses, he's got some great stuff. BrianMoses.com, email him. He's got some call to actions right away in some of the calls he does. Brian, are you doing mailings right now specifically, or are you out of that realm, or you're just
I have a couple of, I do have a couple of agents on my team that are mailing to neighborhoods when I have a listing. So when I have a new listing, or like the one I just listed, they did do some mailers and they do their own open houses. So I'm letting them use my inventory to building their portfolio. What I do with them is more about scripting for them to when they get a response. So we use the mailers more for techniques, not necessarily. I don't get a lot of calls from those, or we don't get a lot of list leads from our postcards out in East. I'm 30 miles from where Matt is. Did we lose him? Matt, you still there?
Nah, he just signed off because of the business, the movement going on.
Oh, okay. Because I had a question for him on the topic we were talking about, because he's.
Are you talking to me?
Are you there, Matt?
Yeah, I'm still here. Go ahead.
Cool. So you're the #1 listing agent on the planet most of the time. So let's just ask you this question.
Sure.
If I'm working with a buyer and it's your listing, and I have a question for you, and the question is really, what's going to be the perfect offer for your seller? How often?
I will tell you exactly what to write.
Good. And that's what agents need to do. They don't take the time to ask the sellers.
You're so right, man. I'm always so amazed when I get an offer on one of my listings and this agent never called me, because I could have saved them. I could have told them believe me, I'm an open book.
Yeah.
You want your offer accepted? I'll tell you exactly what to write. And
Good.
I think most listing agents are like that. You know what I mean? So that's a really great point. Yeah. Call up the agent and ask them what, call up the agent and ask them what the hell the seller wants.
Yeah. Other than the price, let the seller and the buyer work out the price.
I will tell you everything to write.
Yeah.
So that's a really great point.
Good. And that's what we were talking about. So if you're an agent in this marketplace, whether you're a buyer's agent, seller's agent, or both, you have to have your team. We're talking about teams. We've got everything going. Be professional, because if you want your client to have the Nordstrom's treatment, you better be able to deliver what the message is going to be. So at least you felt like you had an opportunity to get your offer accepted.
Also, for the new people in the business, we're going to get to some of these questions in here, and I have them marked that we're going to get back to them. Real quick on postcards, if you don't have a listing, or you haven't sold a listing, you're brand new, 90% of the agents out there don't do any market updates, don't do just solds, don't do just listeds, don't do up under contracts. There is no law that says you can't call it a market update. It may not be your listing, but you can do a mailer around other properties that have gone under contract or that have settled, wait for them to settle and say, market update, this will affect the value of your home. There are still buyers. So it might not even be your listing. Most agents won't follow up. So do what other agents aren't doing, use their listings and call it a market update and make yourself as the marketing expert and things of that nature. We use Thanks.io also for our letters. And in Thanks.io, there's also one of the things you can do is this market update. And the craziest part is in one of the things in there, it actually takes the picture, it says market update, this property is just sold. It could affect the sale price of your home. Google, it links to Google and it takes the person's home that we're mailing to and puts that picture on there. So a person's now getting a picture that says, here's a market update of what's going on in the market. It can affect your home. And their picture, their house pictures on it are Google. You want to talk about somebody saying, how did they get that? Where did they do it? You've intrigued them. Just like Matt did. He took something special about the neighborhood, not just about real estate, and it intrigued them. It got them out of judgment and got them into curiosity. All right. So also we
Put a period on that, Craig.
What?
One thing I'm going to put a period on that is who we do send mailers to is I'm a buy referral agent most of the time. So I make sure that no matter when I help a buyer or help a seller, either way, the one community I do mail to, and it's either an email or a marketing sales piece that I create just to send to my, what I call my holiday list people, my 100 plus of my community. I share every win with them. And I want them to know that even if they live we're an hour away, we just sold a home an hour away from them in another area. When you share your wins, it unlocks your clientele to realize you're just not a local agent, but maybe you're working in other communities. So if you have a broad net of clients or past clients or a community that you mail to, make sure you share all your wins with them, because they might have a neighbor or a friend who's going to be moving to the mountains an hour away, but yet you just closed a deal 5 minutes from where they're moving to. And it's like, oh, Brian, I didn't realize you were selling homes now in Southern California, all the way as far as Irvine or whatever, Palm Desert or Palm Springs. And I've sold homes in over 65 zip codes, which is a huge net. And so every time I share a win in one of those other communities, somebody calls me and they go, oh, we have a friend who just talked to us about selling a condo out in Palm Springs. Can you help them? Of course I can help them. Right. So make sure you're always sharing your wins with your community, no matter how small or big it is.
There you go. Jim Peters had a question that was in here. If you have a coming soon listing, it's coming soon. Where can you put it? Where in enterprise or in the world can coming soon? First of all, you should post it in if you have an area posted, like we have the Pennsylvania, we have a Philadelphia one, post it in there right away. Post it in your organization. We have the tribe that's our organization. My own organization is Legacy Agents Global. So there's our 100 agents that are in there that we post that are all local, that are in the Philadelphia area. So go to specific agents in workplace that you've been working with that might be in your geographic area, and then send it and start a chat with them on that. The other big thing is on coming soons, get it on your social media. Forget the MLS, forget it. Get it on your social media and tag it with, if anybody would like to get on the waiting list to make an appointment for this home, DM me, call me, whatever. Make it a call for action like Brian Moses is called for. Promote those coming soons. And you don't even need to use with broker reciprocity in our area. If I think it's a hot listing, I put it out on my social media. I send it to my client base saying, hey, look, there's a hot property come on. Anybody have any family and friends, we can get on the waiting list to get in to see this home. Are you interested? So it's being proactive and knowing what your marketplace is looking for as far as the coming soons, and things of that nature. Brian, you did a great job, as you were saying. Let's jump around here a second. Teams. Not everybody functions as a team. Team perception can be a multitude of things. It can be a one person with a lot of VAs and assistants. I know Matt Battiata is the #1
Hey,
independent,
you guys.
non-team building guy in the country
That's somebody.
as far as sales. So, hey, Battiata, here we go.
I'm
Oh,
here.
we found the guys with Letter
I
Lab.
found the guy, Letter Labs. Yeah, this
That's
is the guy you
there
want
you
to
go,
call.
everybody.
Reed.
That is called attention to detail, making everybody happy. There you go. That's
Yeah.
called overproducing.
And look,
So,
you can see behind me what the mailers look like. See them?
all right, there you go. Letter Labs, everybody. You got it there. Great
Reed.
job, Matt. Thank you.
Call me.
Woohoo.
Call me.
There you go. Reed says call. Let's go.
All right, you guys. I'm gonna sign off. All right.
All right, see you, man.
All right. Love you guys. See ya.
Thanks, Matt.
All
Love
right,
you.
Brian, let's cover teams here real quick.
Yeah.
How do you know when to build a team in your business? I have my opinion. I'm going to go yours. Let's fire back and forth and get a lot of information being thrown.
Okay. I had multiple experiences in my career. I jumped in 2000. I jumped in on one of the top teams in the country. We did over 60 million in production and 100 transactions with 5 people in the luxury market in San Diego. What we did there is very specific. Everybody had a position on the team and we just were really good at it. I was just a very skilled high luxury and buyer's agent working with, doctors and attorneys and lawyers. But we also had a very skilled listing agent who was the rainmaker, and he was really good. We did that purposely. But then I got out of that, and in 2005 I started my own team in a lower end community, giving the same type of service. So we were giving luxury service to first time home buyers. They didn't know what the heck was going on. All I know is I still have all those clients today because we just really nurtured them along. But the team came about, and I had a broker manager. I was really lucky to have a time. I'm going to name drop for a minute here. You've heard of Brian Buffini before. Brian and I worked in the same real estate office in San Diego. I watched Brian build all his systems, work with him to this day, talk to him to this day. So what I learned from him is you get to a point where you have the capacity to give better service with just you and maybe a really good assistant and a transaction coordinator. And when you're doing that really well, the numbers seem to be around 24 to 30 transactions that I could comfortably do with myself and my own assistant. My assistant became, she wasn't licensed though, that was the issue. So I would say if you're gonna have a team and you're just a single individual and you're wanting to build a team, you wanna start with an assistant that really gets what it is we do for a living, and it's all about service and communication with the client. If you can over communicate with your clients with a really good assistant, they become you Monday through Friday. While everybody else is at work, your assistant is working really well with your transaction coordinator and keeping everything moving smoothly so you could be out doing what you do. And then I found that at 24 to 30 transactions, I had to have a buyer's agent. So then I brought on my first buyer's agent, and then that buyer's agent got really good. And then they started holding open houses and doing things. And now all of a sudden we were doing, multiple business transactions together. I got them up to where the goal was to get to 12 to 20 deals for my buyer's agent. It was a woman, she was a mom, and you want anything done, you give it to a mom, right? So moms just get things done. She had a great personality and so on. And we just built from there. So don't grow a team without having somebody ultimately really knowing how you are going to operate personally, because I say things differently than you say, Craig. So if you and I are communicating to the same person but we're delivering a different message, then that's going to sound not cohesive. There's not going to be chemistry there. So it's really important that if you're going to build a team, and you can start off really quick. So for those of you who are with Windermere and you're brand new with us and you're with EXP now, EXP has a thing called Make It Rain. If you tap into Make It Rain, you're going to have leads. right? You're going to have leads coming in. Those leads are going to come in. They're going to be traditional buyer, potentially seller leads coming in. You get really skilled at converting. That's the goal. Somebody's got to convert opportunities to leads. Leads are not somebody you show property to. Leads are somebody you nurture into a presentation where you're doing a buyer consultation or listing presentation to. You've got to have people that are really good at moving people through the buckets, because it's easy to get opportunities, but it's really hard to have quality appointments. You've got to be skilled in between, and you could run yourself just to the bone because right now you're going to get a lot of leads if you do things like Craig said. You put things on social media and there's going to be clicks. See, I'm interested, I'm frustrated, I haven't been able to buy a house, or I'm frustrated. And those frustrated buyers all of a sudden lose loyalty with their own agent when they see other people buying houses successfully. They're like, what the heck, what's going on? And it's unfair to the agent sometimes because it's just the market, right? So building a team starts with having really good chemistry with the person who's going to be most important to you, and then branch from there. And you may have to just test a few. I didn't bring them on as a full buyer's agent. I brought people on more like a referral agent. So I would give them leads that I trust, like my leads, my personal client leads, I gave them to one agent. And then I had other agents who did more of my open houses on my teams. So I'd call myself a team, but a lot of times I allowed somebody on my team to also do personal transactions. And if it was a listing, a lot of times they didn't really have the confidence to do the listing. So they'd bring me in and we would just partner on it. So I just organically built my teams and then ran them until I could step out. And then I became a manager, and then I was overseeing 40 people. So I just kind of released it, because the last thing a manager wants to do is compete with their own agents. Last thing you want to do is build a team and then all of a sudden compete with them. That's not how it works successfully. And unfortunately, when markets shift, that's what top producers do. They go back to what they did best, and then they compete with their own team. And I never wanted to do that. I don't recommend doing that, but if you have to do that, I get it. It's one of those businesses where there's, a shift. So
that's a huge shift. And when you go from there,
yeah. And so we do have structures. EXP has team structures, and they set it up to where the rainmaker needs to be, a real quality team leader. And then like Matt or anybody else is pretty much on here. I think Cameron has a team. I'm not sure, but I think
but everybody functions as a team is different. And again, I want to preference this, that there are brand new agents in here that are perceived as a one person, one woman, one identity shop. You're not. But remember, you have mortgage people you work with, you have title people you work with, you have home inspectors you work with, you have sign people. You can make your team look like a peacock plume behind you through perception that it's your team. You're the rainmaker. You're dealing with buyers, sellers, negotiating contracts, but the other stuff isn't there. They're still part of your team because their process of getting it settled. Brian, one of the questions that I was told, a gentleman by the name of Alan Dom, selling condos, condo king in Philadelphia. First 3 weeks in the business I was in, I went and saw him, and I said to him, I said, how do I grow my business to doing what you're doing? And I was brand new. I was 3 weeks in the business. He goes, do you have an assistant? I said, no. He goes, then you are one. So, and I said, what do you mean by that? He goes, and this is where I want you all to take this. If you're thinking about building a team, 2 agents being there, you need to understand everybody's role and their position. You can't cross roles. You can't be 2 people one time. You got to real define, but start it out with, what do you do every day? From the time you get up to the time you go to bed, what do you do? What do you touch? What's it cost you? And what is your hourly rate? If it is below your hourly rate, you got to delegate it. Do it, delegate it, or ditch it. The 3 Ds. All right. So once you figure that out, then you need to figure out, who can I hire to take some of these things off my plate that I'm not good at, that I don't like doing. I've got my VP, my VA, as everybody calls. I call her my VP. Phone is on here. She watches every one of my matches, watches every video that I'm on, everything, because I need her to be seeing things that I'm not. But the biggest thing is, Get a virtual assistant for 10 hours that's doing some of your paperwork. Use a TC. There's the TC systems through EXP and stuff like that for closings through SkySlope. Find people to do the delegating, running your errands, doing your food shopping. Start with them as an assistant to let you do your dollar productive activities. The next step you would do is maybe it's working with buyers under a certain sale price. You don't want to go there. You don't need to make them part of your team. Maybe you cut a deal with somebody who's new in the business and you mentor them and help them grow. These are my clients. You're going to show my clients. You're going to get a referral in the end, and or I'm going to pay you a flat rate, hourly rate, like I do some of mine, because I know my guys need money too. I paid them $20, $25 a showing, first showing within the area. And then if it's outside a certain area or more than that at a time, we adjust. If they're sitting open houses, I do stuff like that. All right. Why? Because I want to help people grow, but that's also a way that they're still my clients. The buyers and the sellers that are coming through are still my clients, but we're working them together. All right. So they don't have to physically be part of the team. They could be somebody outside that you bring in as it, because the world's changed. Remember, because as you're bringing people into it, it becomes a different animal. You're not doing what you're doing. You're now becoming a mentor, especially if you're brand new. You can get other people to help. Brian,
That was that was really good advice. Yeah, thank you. I got ahead of myself earlier. And anytime I have a newer agent or somebody just gets licensed, or even they have a dual career, you know, they got a full-time job and they're just trying to make it in this business. Something you said there is something I start with is you have to leverage a team. If you can leverage your team, then you can take all the pressure off of you to know the answer in the moment. So if I'm talking to a client and a client asks me a question I'm really not comfortable with or I don't know, I leverage my team and I say, you know what, I have a contract specialist back at my office that when we find the right property, you know, we'll go over that in the contract. And I just got really good at deflecting until I understood and I could answer questions that I should know. But if I don't know them, I feel like I should know them. But now's not the time to like work that out and get all stressed out, because this is not rocket science and nobody dies. Sometimes it feels like somebody's going to die. We get so nervous, right?
Yes.
So if you're a brand new agent or you're a newer agent, like Craig was saying, the key is that just always have a team that you know. See, here's the good news. You got a real estate license. Your state recognized you as an expert, but sometimes you don't feel like an expert. But you have to be an expert even when you don't feel like an expert. And how you do that, it's real simple. You leverage your team. So I would always tell my newer agents, I would just say, listen, use me. I'm your team. I'm not your manager. Don't use my manager name. I'm not your broker manager, whatever. I'm on your team. What you would just simply say is, hey, you know what? I've got an expert back at the office who's a contract specialist. I always go to them. We draft up our offers. I'd love to set up an appointment. Would you like to meet me at my office? And I'll have my contract specialist come in. And then when I come in, I would just say, I'm on, you know, Sharon's team. I'm her contract specialist. My job is to get your offer accepted when the two of you go out and find the right house. You get the fun stuff. I just have to do all the contract stuff, you know, and I would be on her team, but I would put her above me, right? She is your expert. She's the one that's going to show you houses. She's the one that's going to be with you. Or same thing like you were talking about. As long as you have a really good lender who understands the lender process and how to make a buyer, a 10 buyer, a buyer that a seller will choose. Most agents aren't walking their prospective buyers through a conversation like that. Like, do you know what it takes to get an offer accepted in today's market? What is a seller looking for in today's market? Let's sit down and go through that plan. You can become an expert really quickly, and then it takes all the pressure off you of showing a lot of property, because a lot of times buyers are not a 10. They're not ready to go looking. But agents think if they show them enough houses, then they're going to find one they like to go through all of the process of getting to that point. And then unfortunately, there's 2 or 3 other buyers who are further along in the process, right? So don't make that mistake of showing property to people who can't tell you, hey, I'm a 10 buyer. And then you got to go through the process. And that's a team.
That's called being, and if, by the way, if somebody calls and you're running out showing houses right away, you're called a Pop-Tart agent. Pop-Tart, I'm just running and going, man. I'm like, stop, you're wasting time. Not everybody's a buyer, as Brian said. And that
Yeah.
also is going to differentiate you when they're talking to other agents, because when buyers call in, I do talk to them and I point blank say, so I assume you have a realtor? Well, no. So you're just winging this? Have you been through a process? Have you looked at houses? Have you lost? So I start going deep on those conversations, and it shows a differential of where you're coming from. And that's a key point. Remember, there's also teammates that are referral teammates to you. You could be a single agent, but remember, you have a dry cleaner, you have a lawyer, you have an accountant, you have a doctor, you have the auto mechanic. You're paying people for their services, correct? They're now part of your team for referring people to your services. Tell them, hey, by the way, do you know I refer people to you? I'd like to get some love back. I'm in Philly, I just call it out. Hey, haven't had any love lately. I tell a lot of people to come see it. I need a little bit of love. Who do you know that I can help? Who do you know that's this? Jim loved the 3Ds that were in here before. Do it, delegate, or ditch. I'm going to throw another one. These are not mine. These are Gail DeMarcos, who's normally on the call also. It's the 3Ds of how to go prospecting: death, divorce, and dating. The 3Ds. Deaf people need to sell a house typically. Divorced people need to sell a house. And if they're dating, they might need to sell 2 houses to buy 1 house. So the other 3Ds, divorce, death, and dating. Track people that are doing that and ask people, hey, do you know anybody who's getting a divorce? You know anybody who just died? Do you know anybody who's dating that needs a new home? Stop asking, you know anybody who wants to buy or sell a house? I want to share something real quick. Your strengths are not always the best for some of your tasks. I'm going to put something in down here and hopefully it works. Did it work? Yes. All right. How many people have ever taken a DISC personality trait test? If you haven't, you should. It's going to show your strengths, your weaknesses, how you communicate, all that stuff. I put down right down below, copy this, paste it. You do this and you send me your name, email me. I will personally send you your DISC test. It normally costs a couple $100, whatever it may be. I'm giving it to you free. Copy this, do it, take your test. I will send it to you. It will show you who you are, where you are, and who you should be hiring to help you and the type of personality. You don't want to hire people like yourself. You want to hire people that are not like yourself, that are going to do the strengths that you're not straight at, right, Brian? The problem is if you have 2 D personalities, you have 2 big egos. You have 2 I personalities, all you got is a party going on. You have 2 C's going on, which are analytical people. You're going to analyze yourself into a corner. And the S's, you're both going to be so upset, you're not going to want to tell each other the truth because you're protecting each other. So figure out your strengths, your weaknesses, and then go from there. All right, there was another one here. Brian, for sale by owners.
Yeah.
From, if I say it wrong, I apologize. Rakisha, all right, I think. She asked, would you advise taking a FSBO for a 2-week listing and hoping they extend? I've got feedback on that. I'm gonna let you go first, Brian. What do you think?
If in the beginning, of course, I would take anything. But what I would do today, knowing that, is that there would be an end game to why I would take it, right? So the end game to why I would take it would be to overwhelm that person with communication and trust. I would not take it because I think I'm going to sell it right away. I would not overpromise, or excuse me, you overpromise and underdeliver. Sometimes I would basically do the opposite of that. What I would do is I would try to come in with a reason why, like, here's why they want to do that, by the way. I can tell you because I've been doing this for many years and I've studied for sale by owners in and out of every marketplace. They've had a bad experience and they think they can do our job better than us. That's basically what's going on here. So the reason why they want to take it for a couple of weeks is to set you up for failure and just continue to have a bad experience. So what you would want to do is turn that around and say, of course, I'd be willing to do it for a couple of weeks. And in those first couple of weeks, what would you expect me to be able to accomplish in only a few weeks? Because I'd love to set up a broker's caravan, showcase your property to all the buyers agents in the area, invite people over and really do something. So I'd love to take it for 2 weeks with a 30-day or 60-day extension at the beginning. Let's just write in an extension now, because I know I'm going to do a great job for you. And I know that you're going to like what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to get some momentum in those first couple of weeks. So how would you feel about us writing in an extension now or doing it? How about we do this? Why don't we do it for 90 days, but you can cancel in the first 2 weeks. And then if we get past 2 weeks and everything's going well, then maybe we can do it. So I would just negotiate softly in such a way that you could go back to maybe your own manager or somebody that you work with and just say, hey, I've got a new listing. It's a for sale by owner. Here's what you want to be able to do. You want to overwhelm them with showings in the beginning, because they're going to see that what you're doing is you're doing your job and you're getting their house shown. The goal is to have a lot of showings in those first couple of weeks somehow, some way, because the market's going to dictate the price. The market's going to dictate if it's even going to sell. So do you even want to waste a lot of time with a property that's not, there's going to be a lot of things you're going to learn. But I would, yes, I took a listing one time. We used to do these things called open listings. I don't know if you have them in your state or in your area, but we take open listings. An open listing meant that there were 3 or 4 other agents who had a listing on the same house, and the seller wasn't going to allow any of them to put it in the MLS, but we could all have an open listing to just have the ability to actually sell it and earn a commission. So it was a way to get in the door. For sale by owners really do not like powerful agents who walk in with a big ego. I would tell you right now, what you need to do is attach yourself to their outcome. If you can attach yourself to their outcome, and that's true with anybody. Like Craig was just saying, the A's, the B's, the D's, and C's. Here's how I negotiate with all of them. I don't use my ego, I use their outcome. If you could find out why this person wants to sell, why only 2 weeks, and why do they even want to do it this way, you'll find out really how to get to them in a way that you have to be focused on their outcome and anchor back to it. Just continuously remind them of what their outcome is based on what they told you. I need to get to Texas, or I only have a small window, or whatever it is. Anchor into the outcome of the client. You'll find that you'll get really good at this business really quickly if you can remove what it is you think you need to do and just find out what the outcome is they want you to help them with. If you can get good at that.
Is finding out their needs. Finding out their story, which I call the situation, their target, their objections, the responses, and their yikes and yields. So it's the same thing. Find out their story. We all have a story. What's our story? Why are we doing what we're doing at this moment? Where's it going? How is it going to affect us? And go from there. All right, we're down to less than 5 minutes.
Wow.
We've answered a bunch of questions in there. We talked about postcards. We talked about teams. And again, we're going to be on this every Thursday. Invite friends, invite more friends. Get all the new people from Windermere. You all should be on here watching, learning. Guess what? We're sharing ideas. We all become one big family. We just happen to be the ones that are on here. Doesn't mean we know everything, because I usually come out of here with lists and lists of things to do and grow each week. The postcards from Matt, the scripts that Brian has, and his demeanor. Jim was saying, I mean, you've got such a good demeanor. You change your tone to the personalities that you're talking to. And that comes also in dealing with your A, B, C, D buyers and knowing your DISC personalities. I'm excited right now because we're helping. I'm able to share, but I'm also excited because I'm going to get off the phone. I'm going to get off this and I'm going to pick up the phone, start calling people and doing what I should be doing, because I know that we just shared some ideas here, and I'm going to share with other agents that I know that are in the business that are struggling, but I'm also going to be calling clients. Hey, I heard a great idea. What do you think about putting your house on the market for 2 weeks and seeing if we can sprout up? Hey, by the way, you've been in your house over 8 months or 8 years. You know, you got a big equity problem, maybe. Just pick up the phone and start making phone calls. It's doing the work. That's the point. Brian and I were just saying, nobody's born successful. If you spent 40 hours a week, right, Brian? How many realtors do you know, real estate agents, spend 40 hours a week doing what they should be doing, belly to belly with buyers, sellers, negotiating contracts? If you're doing that, you are going to have so much freedom, so much legacy and wealth, and so much fun in this business. you won't know what to do with it because you'd have to delegate all the things you don't like to do. But we're not. We're spending time playing with our drawers, cleaning the desk out, doing this. Yes, there's time for education in the day, but you got to be doing the work when you are. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah. No, I just could say how I would answer that is ask yourself why you got a real estate license anyway. What was your goal to get into this business for? I can tell you without a doubt, the one thing that makes me most happiest about being a real estate agent is previewing property. So I love being in the marketplace. I meet people when I'm previewing property. I could preview property every single day because two things happen. One, I get excited about a property I see every day that what I wasn't expecting to see. So I would have confidence in a deal. There was always a deal when I went looking for one. And once I found one, it was like all my confidence. So that was one thing. The other thing, I just love being in the marketplace and walking around in big homes. I love the bigger homes. Guess what? If you have a real estate license, you have the opportunity to go preview property in any marketplace, in any price range. And when you go look at a $20 million house, just because, you will walk out with excitement, like, oh my gosh, this is fun. This is like what I would do on Tuesdays in San Diego. Every Tuesday, I'd go for 4 hours and go see every single house that didn't have a lockbox that was over 5 million for sale, because that's when the brokers were showing them. And I just loved to see the environment. And it's not by accident that I've sold a $7 million house and a $5 million house, because I had so much excitement about that marketplace. And I would talk about it in environments where I wasn't even around people that could buy those homes, but I ended up meeting those people because I had confidence in that price range. So find your strength. And like Craig said, if you can do something 40 hours a week in real estate, it might be you really just love doing real estate law. Then be in the front of the contracts and be working with people in contracts. Whatever it is for you, whatever your strength is, and make that the priority. Find your career in your priority of why you got a real estate, and I guarantee you your business will grow.
You said a key thing there, Brian. Interesting. I mean, I'm in hundreds of houses, probably 100, 150 houses in a month at any given point with the clients that I'm working with in a certain price point. And it is amazing. There's houses that I fall in love with. There's things in them. I've now decided that I have the gut in my garage because I wanted this really sexy, cool garage, because I wanted the epoxy floor. I drip drywall out. I got the colored 4-inch LED lights now. I'm putting a TV, and my kids and my wife are like, "You're out of your head." I said, okay, I'll do this, but now I'm going to have fun because I saw a really sexy laundry room. We had a nice laundry room, but it wasn't really cool. So while I ripped the garage apart, I just ripped the laundry room apart. So watch what you wish for, everybody. The more expensive houses and the cool places you go into, sometimes wow you, and you come home and you start digging a rabbit hole yourself. And remember, you're going to be writing the RHC, which is called the right-hand corner of the check, just because you tease yourself going into some of those houses. So been there, done that. How about that, Brian?
Yeah. It's the greatest feeling to go in and see something like, oh my gosh, I need to do that. I'm stealing that, right?
There you go.
Yeah. And you'll have fun. Your business will be fun. Your outcomes will be better. And remove yourself from the outcome. That would be, and here's the last thing I'm going to say, Craig. I'm going to give everybody a bonus point right now. I'm not going to give you the answer. I'm going to make you think about this.
We're going to cut it in short in 3 minutes because we went over, but we're giving you added value right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I could do this. I just want you to think about this question. Every single agent on here is asked every day, oh, you're in real estate. How's the market? Craig, how's the market? You ever get that question?
All day long.
All day long. Do you know that that is a job interview? I want you to think of that from now on. Anytime somebody says to you, hey, Craig, oh, you're in real estate. How's the market? What they're really trying to ask you is, how are you doing in the market? So they want to hear about you. They think you're going to answer it. But the goal is to flip that question around and just look them straight in the eye and go, wow, that's a really good question. It depends. What are you considering doing? Buying a home or selling a home? And you get quiet. Allow them to tell you why they really asked you how the market is. That will turn into a job interview every single day. You will convert more of those conversations into an appointment. Don't do malpractice on the spot. Just use it to set an appointment and then sit down with them later and get really good at that. That craft right there tripled my business.
There you go. Ask a question different than everybody else's. Don't throw up on them. Just figure out how you can help them. I got a bunch of questions about the DISC test. You can also all get to me in Workplace if you're an EXP. If not, you can always find me social media. My email was in there, craig@craiglurch.com. Also, I put the information, it's right in the chat. The information on how to do it is right in the chat. Copy that, paste it, follow the instructions. It's right there. And we'll go from, and we'll have some fun with it, okay? My email's there. I can't get everybody's email off of here, so if you're interested, just email me. Phona will figure it out. She'll watch the emails. We'll get the test sent to you, and then we'll get them out. Brian, awesome. Dre from the background, making us wonderful and hosting, who is Pete Middleton's right hand and huge mountain behind him. Thank you for everything you do, Dre.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And if you guys have never met Dre, she's awesome. You should all find one. So
You're
hey,
the best. Thanks, Craig.
all right, everybody. Look forward to seeing you next week. Get some family and friends on here. Get your friends in here. Let's share some ideas. Brian,
Great
go
job.
fishing in that water behind you.
I'm headed out.
All right. See you,
Great
my
job.
friends.
See you
Welcome
soon.
home from Rome.
All right, bye-bye. Thank you.
Guys.